Welcome to the Prospect Podcast. Today is going to be an interesting day as we talk NIL. Name, image, and likeness. What does that mean? And let's talk about some of the situations within NIL right now that are going on. So it's really exciting for a lot of the athletes around the country to have an opportunity, if they have a sponsor, to be able to get money or benefits for their name, image, and likeness. At the same time, it's presented an interesting problem for the NCAA, who had no idea how to handle it when it became to fruition. So there's a couple interesting things on NIL, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that we see right now and go to it, some of the most interesting things right now trending. And some of the stories that are trending, and I'll show you some of that. But before we do it, we want to understand what the actual rule is. The rule actually is that somebody can give someone essentially sponsorship money for their name, image, and likeness, to use them in commercials, to use them to pitch their product, so on and so forth, which has lent itself to a lot of the big names in TikTok and social media getting early NIL deals. The most famous is the Cavender twins, and they're ladies playing basketball that are exceptional basketball players at Fresno. I believe it was Fresno State, but correct me if I'm wrong. But they now are transferring to the University of Miami. Why? Because NIL presents them with an opportunity to transfer and be able to make some more money. Miami is one of the groups that has a collective that has gone and given a good amount of money to a lot of players through their own collective. And that goes to the Cavender twins, that goes to their football players, and they have that outside sponsorship. Where the issue lies in is what we call pay to play. What does pay to play even mean in the world of NIL? Meaning, if I am a player and I want to come to a school, am I coming there because of the fact that somebody is giving me money to whether I'm doing sponsorship or not, signing autographs or not? That's the dilemma that the NCAA has. Okay. And the issue is the pay to play aspect. Now, the question is, how do you even police this? I don't see how you can, unless you put in some regulations. And right now it's a pure free market, pure free agency. And unless the NCAA figures out what parameters they want to put around it. So, for example, in the NFL, there is what we call a salary cap. So each team has a cap amount of money that they can spend. Is that going to come into play? In Major League Baseball, my analogy for NIL is that it's creating almost a farm system for a lot of the powerhouse programs. And let's say you're Alabama and you're one of the top football programs in the country, if not the top program in the country, and another player excels at Louisville or New Mexico State or some other place, and now you didn't recruit them out of high school, but then now they're in college, they excel. Well, donors are reaching out, companies are reaching out and asking, would you be interested in coming here if we offer you X? That brings to light, and I'll share it, one of the things that is going on right now with the best wide receiver in the country, which is Jordan Addison. Okay. Jordan Addison has gone into the portal. His quarterback, Kenny Pickett, was one of the top players picked in the first round in the draft. And he is now trying to figure out, he's put himself into the portal. And everyone knows the main reason he's put himself in the portal is because he's the top receiver and he stands to make a good amount of money. He is now visiting Texas. You can see this here. While in Austin, his lunch order raised a big flag. It's interesting to read this stuff. Jordan Addison has made a decision over the course of the next few weeks, months. Rising junior wide receiver entered transfer portal, is set to make an immediate impact. He's the best receiver in the country. He won the Biletnikoff Award. He was reportedly set to transfer to USC on a massive deal for his name, image, and likeness. Not long thereafter, the name appeared in the transfer portal. He's already turned down a six-figure deal to transfer to SEC East program. Expensive bidding war, which we would call pay to play, is expected to unfold. It certainly didn't help that Pittsburgh's case to keep him, that the quarterback, offensive coordinator, and position coaches left. So that's what people will use as the reason why they're going into the portal. Of the top programs, USC, Alabama, Texas are at the top, barring unforeseen change. Those will get his commitment. Okay. The bottom line is they have the best opportunity. Jordan Allen is being too high on a guy who doesn't. So that's pretty much from his standpoint. He's the most popular person right now that's in the draft. In the portal. Okay. And that's a good example of someone that's going to take advantage of the best opportunity, which we say is great for the players. It is a great opportunity for the players to be able to have an opportunity to get more money than they could have. They don't have to go to the NFL if they don't end up having a situation where they're a draftable prospect, but they can make money in college. That is all great. We need to see some parameters from the NCAA as to what they want it to be. But we don't want them to get so handsy, right? So it's kind of a situation where they've got to figure out how to do what's best for both the players to be able to make the money that they need to be able to make without ruining of all of the institutions in just bidding wars for every single player that is the best player in the country, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Okay. So let's look at another thing that the NCAA is currently addressing. All right. Let's go to. So this is great. NCAA trying to crack down on booster involvement in NIL deals. The NCAA trying to, I don't know how they're going to be able to do this. Crack down on NIL payments. I mean, if I have a company, and so a good example is if I have a company and I want to pay a player, I own NUC Sports, and I want to pay a player to sponsor my organization, and I go to I played at the University of Connecticut, and I want to form my own collective and be able to do it through a company, I don't know what they can do to stop that. So that really doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no legality behind it. The NCAA's Board of Records has issued a guidance. That's a key word because there's no regulation. Reading the intersection between recruiting activities and name, image, and likeness. The guidance, which is effective, specifically addresses the collective establishes at schools across the country designed to pool funds together to attract top recruits. That's what I talked about, the Miami Collective, okay, which is being able to pay. I saw there was an article about them being able to play their different players. I saw something with, I think it was Texas, that they're going to do each player getting a certain amount of payment. Basically, they're on some places have decided with their collective to put people on salaries, essentially. I mean, without using that word. And then what the other thing that they have done is decided to pay obviously the best players. Okay. And the sponsorship deals. And there's also, besides collectives, there's clearinghouses that are also like, I call them clearinghouses. I guess they're like eBays, basically almost auctions for the players' services where players can go and through a third party. So that's interesting that the NCAA is going and doing that. Well, it remains to be seen what's happening. You're going to have, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff on the NIL going forward, but it'll be interesting to see where Jordan Addison lands. And then how does that begin to impact other players like Jordan Addison, who are the best of their position, if they are not in a position where they feel that they're getting enough money. We already saw Kansas State basketball player, I think it was Kansas State basketball player that transferred to another school because he didn't feel he was getting enough NIL money. This is going to be the trend. What will go on further? What do you guys think about it? Do you think this is something great? Do you think this is something that can ruin potentially college sports? Do we care, or do we want the players to just have an opportunity to be able to make money? Should there be parameters, and should there be rules and regulations on it? Coach Schumann signing off for the Prospect Podcast. We'll see you soon.